Genesis. This is Global Digest think tank group. So what is your area? What is your specialized area? Can you introduce to our audience?
Thank you. A specialty in environmental sciences. I have masters in earth sciences, PhD final, PhD in soil and environmental sciences. So my research field is environmental sciences, soil, heavy metals, soil pollution, and other environmental related hazards.
I see.
The case of, let me just take the case of the African continent where we are, the sub-Saharan Africa where we are. Well, the population in the sub-Saharan Africa depend on agriculture. Agriculture is the primary economic activity that they depend on. And the pressure on this agriculture, they tell them to over cultivate, that's the over use the soil, they cultivate the soils with inappropriate farming activities. They applied fertilizers, they overgrazed the land, they applied in and other activities which then pollute the soil. It pollute the soil with heavy metals, destroy the soil physical activities, biological microbial activities, and other activities, and renders the soil infertile.
I see. So you have any project or any related to soil, any activity related to environmental?
I have many activities that I've done. I've done internships, I've gone to the field, I've written articles. I have 2 articles on agriculture and environmental sciences. My first article was on the effects of land use systems. That's the tillage, fertilizer, following on agricultural soil properties, soil fertility. The second article was on the effects of agricultural activities on organic carbon. That's organic matter, of which we know that organic matter plays an important part in carbon sequestration. It sequesters carbon and it reduces the overwhelming emission of climate change.
So if you use chemical, it is not organic, right?
Yes, exactly.
All organic tree, it should be without chemical, right?
Exactly. Yes.
You can say organics contribute more environmental issue, or chemical cannot contribute that much. How comparison?
Okay. Thank you. I will just take a case study of what I did in Cameroon, in the Western Highlands of Cameroon. That's Fumot, to be precise, where I did an evaluation. It was an assessment that I did on the effects of fertilizers. As I did effects of chemical fertilizer. It was ammonium phosphate. We had the urea. It was in the tomatoes farm. Then there was the other experiment, which was on a fallow land. Then the third one was with the organic matter, where they applied organic matter like farm residues and other organic matter. So from the results that I obtained, I had from the research, it showed that the farm, the one that had chemical fertilizer, that they applied chemical fertilizer, there was destruction in the soil physical properties that we know. There's destruction in soil structure. There was a deterioration in soil. There was deterioration in soil nitrogen, and there was an increase in soil CEC. There was increase in soil phosphorate. But The paradox with it is that as the CEC increase, as the phosphorus increase, it is not sustainable because water erosion, when rain falls, the water easily leaches the phosphorus, it leaches the remaining chemical fertilizers to the water bodies, the rivers, and it does pollute the water bodies and the water aquifers. Then the other land use where there was application of organic manure, that's farm residues. In that experiment, there was high organic matter. The high organic matter in that experiment was higher as compared to that of chemical fertilizer. The CEC of the soil was also higher. The phosphorus, it was low. The trace elements, soil trace elements, it was low as compared to the chemical fertilizer. So with the conclusion, I concluded that chemical fertilizers deteriorate soil properties and thus pollute the environment, water bodies than organic manure. Thank
So you concluded chemical fertilizer can damage soil and also it destroy environmental, including water, right?
Exactly.
So if such kind of problem, it's mean it is not good for environment.
Exactly. It's not good for the environment.
So the thing is, you know, commercially, organics is not profitable. You cannot get a lot of fruit and a lot of products from organic plants. But if you use chemical fertilizer, you can get a lot of fruit and a lot of products. You can make commercial profit. So how farmer can ignore chemical fertilizer for their economy, their survival? If they do organic, they cannot survive. So how can you balance, or how you see any alternative way for this solution?
As of what concerns the solutions to these problems, the first solution that I give, let me start by giving a recap before I give the solution. Okay. When we talk of chemical fertilizers applying here, it means they apply chemical fertilizers in much quantity, of which we know that plants, crops, they just need a smaller percentage of the importance elements. That's the nitrogen, the potassium, the phosphorus, for example. But when you go and you apply much quantity of fertilizers, it means that plants, they will only take the quantity that they need. And when they take the quantity that they need, what happens with the remaining one? The remaining one becomes leached. The remaining fertilizer becomes leached, being it by rainfall, erosions, or whatever. It leaches it to the water table, which pollutes the water, or even takes it to the streams, the rivers, the oceans, of which it pollutes the aquatic family and the ecosystem. So, as a solution to this problem, I think if integrated fertilizers is implemented, that's application of combined quantity, you take 25% chemical fertilizer, 75% organic fertilizer, you join it and you apply in your farm. It is effective and environmental friendly, rather than going for 100% chemical fertilizer, of which we know the effect to the environment. The second recommendation I would give is to limit the application. If we can limit the application of chemical fertilizers just based on organic, we just use organic fertilizer, we use organic manures, or if you are into agriculture, for example, if you are into agriculture, if you have poultry farm, you could make a system where when you take the feces from your poultry, you recycle it to your farm, and it gives crops. And when you harvest the crops, you use the crops, you feed your animals, you produce, and it turns out it rotates. The third recommendation I give is we should not apply fertilizers close to the water bodies. We should apply fertilizer. We should not use fertilizer close to the water body, where it is closer to the water body, or in a steep slope. In a steep slopes, for example, we have a hill, you have a mountain, or the don't apply fertilizers there, because there are areas that are easily eroded. In case of erosion, it easily takes it to the water body. Yes. Thank you.
Right. And it means it's better not to apply near the rivers or lake or those water area, right?
Exactly.
So,
yes, exactly.
And you also recommend not on the mountain, right? Slope area.
Yes.
So that's the thing. And do you see that method will be a lot of products and a lot of fruit for agriculture farmer? They can make equal profit as they used to do fertilize chemical. They can get profit, or they can earn a lot of products.
There was something that I omitted when I did mention fertilizers in the case of agriculture. When you apply fertilizers in agriculture, you discover that the first year you apply the fertilizer, you have harvest. That's you harvest more than enough. The second year you apply the fertilizers, the harvest drops. The third, it drops. Continuously like that. That's why it declines. It goes down. There's never a season that you apply fertilizers this year than the other years. So what happens? When you apply the fertilizers, it destroys the soil. It destroys the soil physical properties, the soil physical properties that holds the required elements, the elements that plants need. So when it destroys the soil structure, and when it makes the soils acidic, because the soils becomes acidic as a result of fertilizer application, it means that if after 2 years you apply the same quantity of fertilizer in that farm, it will not give the same results, because the soil structure has been destroyed. So when you apply the fertilizer is directly leached to the water table, and the plants will not have access to the fertilizers. Plants will not have access to fertilizer. Then we still have another chemical problem. When you apply fertilizers in the soil takes the fertilizer in, and it becomes acidic. When the pH of the soil, it drops, that's when it drops, the soil becomes more acidic. And when it is more acidic, it means that it will tend to fix phosphorus. It fixes phosphorus. And when the soil fixes phosphorus, it will make it unavailable. The phosphorus will not be available for plants, which means that plants will not be able to take phosphorus. And if plants are not able to have the phosphorus, then it's difficult for plants to grow. You won't have the same yields. So my advice here is that we should not just think of the first harvest that we receive from this. We need to think of the aspect of sustainability. Are you able to harvest today and harvest tomorrow? Think about, don't just think of the present and you compromise the future. Think about what you harvest and what you harvest tomorrow and what the next generation will harvest. And it won't destroy the family. It won't destroy the environment.
Right.
Thank you.
So you mentioned organic should be 70% and chemical fertilizer should be 30%, something like that. It will be it will be okay. It will be better, or it will be produced good, and you can harvest a lot.
I mentioned that organic fertilizer should be 75 and chemical fertilizer be 25. That's the quantity that you use. And when you apply like that, it will be effective. Why is it effective? It is effective because the chemical fertilizer that you apply, the fertilizers you apply in the farm, it does not last long. It is just a short term. If you apply fertilizer, it cannot make the maximum fertilizer in a farm is three months in a farm. The fertilizer goes, it is leached for 3 months. But if you apply chemical fertilizer and organic fertilizer, then there is a possibility that when the chemical fertilizer is leached, the organic fertilizer will remain there even for years, more than 10 years. The organic fertilizer will remain there because it has to decay. It has time that it decays, gradually decay. And as it decay, it mineralizes. So it takes a process, which means that if you apply organic fertilizer here in your farm, there is a possibility that you could cultivate this year, you cultivate the next coming year, and you have similar results or similar outputs.
I see. So the thing is why a lot of farmers, they did not follow such a good, technique or a good strategy, and they keep using a lot of chemical fertilizer in many countries, and a lot of company are producing chemical fertilizer, keep doing such thing. Why they are doing like that? They don't understand, or they don't want to follow, or they just lack of knowledge, or why they keep it? Because we need to prevent environment,
Exactly. Fertilizers companies, they produce the fertilizers because they need money, but they are companies and they are out for profits.
Right.
They need money. They need money, and they don't care about the adverse effects of the fertilizers. The first thing about the fertilizer, chemical fertilizer is not bad. It is good. It's good. So the problem now is with the level of the farmers. The farmers, they apply much quantities of the fertilizers. They use much quantity of the fertilizers. The problem is not with the producers. The producers, they are doing their job. They're doing their job. And farmers, they prefer chemical fertilizers because maybe they just expect results and they don't care about the negative effects. They don't care about the long-term effects of it. They just need immediate results. That was it.
They are lack of knowledge and a kind of ignorance, something like that, right?
Exactly.
So that's why with our podcasting, we can educate a lot of farmer and a lot of, the agricultural environmentalists, that they can get knowledge. And how's in your country, Cameroon, how the farmer are practicing? They are doing as you suggested, or how the situation in Cameroon farmer?
Okay, thank you. Let me just take let me just see if I can focus my camera.
Okay.
Focus my camera. Yeah.
Yes, it's in your campus.
Yes, this is my campus. I'm in school right now, and this is our school farm. Here you see, it's our school farm in the Department of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences.
Okay.
You can see. Yes. You can see. So, it's something that's very is very difficult. It's very difficult. But we try our own at our level. We try our own at our level. We teach our students, we educate our students, and we teach, we sensitize the population, the NGOs where we have seminars, we have teachings where we teach them. We go to the field, we teach the farmers, the local women, the women which are mostly vulnerable in the villages, where we teach them that this is what you can do, this is what you can do, and this is how you can do it. If you cultivate here, this is what you do. Avoid over tillage, as you can imply minimum tillage, as you reduce the risk of erosion, the risk of fertilizers, leaching, and other aspects. Instead of practicing deforestation, instead you plant trees, you plant cover crops, you plant other things to protect the soil properties and the soil fertility.
I see. So did you work with international organization or international groups, academic or any scientific group?
I work with an NGO, non-governmental organization. The first NGO I work with is SUPESDU Cameroon, of which I work in the aspect of environmental sciences. The second NGO I work with is the Greens International. Is in Cameroon, where we have there's a project that we have now on the waste management, case of plastic waste, where we use plastic bottles, we try to recycle, we collect tires, we try to recycle the tires, or some of the tires we use the tires to make local chairs and local other things that we use the tires. The last organization where I belong to is Remico, where we handle aspects of mining. We handle aspects of mining and the rehabilitation of mining sites to fight environmental issues.
I see. So you work with a lot of NGO, right? And one thing is there are different, different trees, plants and trees. So if you use chemical fertilizer every year for yearly plants or yearly products, tree or fruit, anything. Instead of that, if we have a long-term plan, like that thick or wood, it can take 20 years, 30 years. This kind of tree plants, is it good to use chemical fertilizer, or is how you view that it's not good or it's good?
Hello, we know that for the organic manure or farm plant residues or farm residues, it takes time. It takes time to decay. It takes time to decay. That is why we came up with the aspect of integrated fertilization. Integrated fertilization, where you use the chemical fertilizers and in combination with the plant residues and animal residues, so that as the chemical fertilizer enters, as plants, they take the chemical fertilizers for the first year. In the second year, that second harvesting system, the organic matter or the plant residues, some of them must have decomposed. Some of them must have decomposed to increase the soil fertility, where the plants can benefit from them. Because when you apply organic matter, organic plant residues or plant leaves or whatever you collect from you apply, it need to mineralize. It changes from organic. It changes from plant matter to organic matter, and it needs to mineralize from that organic form to chemical form, of which plants they take in the chemical forms, like the nitrogen, the potassium, the phosphorus, and some of them that we have chemical forms and have organic. Then plants they take in the chemical ones for their growth, their optimum growth.
I mean, for a long time plant, like, teak or wood tree, it takes 20, 30 years. For such kind of tree plantation, can be use chemical fertilizer? It's better to use or it's not good to use?
For the tree, there are some trees where you just have to apply fertilizer once. You just have to apply fertilizer once. As you plant the trees, the first time you plant the trees, you apply the fertilizer and it will be okay for the plant. The plant will be okay. The plant will be okay. There are some plants. There are some plants. For example, case of cuckoo. Cuckoo, there is coffee that you need to apply fertilizers after a year. After a year, you apply fertilizers to it.
So for long-term plant, it doesn't affect that much, right? It's not that much affect environmental, right?
Yes, if you apply it once, it will not affect the environment.
The problem is every year applying chemical fertilizer can damage soil and environment, right?
It can damage soil. It can damage soil.
Once in 20 years, 30 years, 10 years may not much affect, right?
Might not affect. It might not affect.
So how did you see in your country and in your region your government support for environmental related to soil, or African Union support you in the region in such kind of promoting environmental issue?
In Cameroon, where we are in Africa, we are in a developing country. Our government, as I can say, I don't know if it's that the government is ignorant about the environmental issues or environmental crisis. I don't know. But for all this why we always struggle. As for some research that I've done, the articles that I've published, research that I've published, some of them I use my own resources. I funded it, and for the NGOs, there are some projects that are partially funded by FAO. There was a project that was funded by FAO under Food and Agricultural Organization. There was another one. There was another program, another project too for the mining that was funded by Sonamin. Sonamin is mining organization in France. Société des Mines in France is in France. So they funded the projects. And for the other projects, it has always been a problem because right now we have many projects. We have many projects that we've been doing. There's a project that we came up with for bee farming. Bee farming in the case of Oku. Oku is situated in the west region of Cameroon, where the farm bee, there's Oku white honey. They have Oku white honey. So there was a project that we came up with it that since this bee farming, it needs forests, it needs trees. It is good that we plant trees in the forest, we plant trees in the vicinity, so that when the trees they flourish, the flowers they produce, the bee will be able to take the nectars. The bees will be able to take the nectars from the flowers for the honey, and the environment will also benefit from the plants, because as the plants are there, the plants they recharge the water table. They recharge the water table. They improve the soil structure, soil organic matter, they improve soil quality, they improve other aspects. So it tells, and the trees too, they also capture carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide that is sent to the atmosphere by combustion and other activities. Trees, they capture the carbon dioxide and they sequester it. So if we can realize a project like this one, I think it will help a long way. It would help many things, help in many aspects.
Right. So
Thank you.
big tree and long-term tree for 10 year, 20 year, they can be very good for carbon dioxide and, oxygen production. So that will
Yes.
be definitely helpful for environment, right? Environmental issue.
Yeah.
Maybe in Africa, you can work a lot of UN project, environmental project.
Yes.
And I guess a lot of farmer can improve environmental through this soil, maintaining for a good soil, such as effectively using the organic soil organic fertilizer and chemical fertilizer wisely. They should use that can make environment better, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you, Genesis. Have a good day.